I want a sequel. I want a sequel. I was on Reddit, and then there was a Reddit post that said, what are your top films or favorite films of the 2020s?" And I was like, bro, I can't name any. And then when the guys were giving their list, I was like, no, 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 no. So many of these guys, when they were giving this, I was like, yeah, no, 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 no. So when you just think of the 2020s and the films that have come out, I'm like, no, I'm not repping any of these films. I'm generally not repping any of these films. And then I was like, wait, hang on. I just watched The Killer. And out of all the films I've seen in 2020, 21, 22, 23, it's the best film. It is the best film. Because, again, what I like about The Killer is it's not this super amazing, incredible film. And I think, look, so going in, you have to understand these things. So it's Fincher. We know who Fincher is. The writer is Andrew Kevin Walker. And you say, wait, who the heck is Andrew Kevin Walker? Who the heck is that guy, Halford? It's the guy who wrote Seven. And I believe that he also helps to write Fight Club as well. So it's a guy that Fincher really knows. And I just think that, like, bro, just the way this film is constructed, because I think it's based off of a book, it's based off of a novel, so it's an adaptation. But just how the film flows, the pacing, the movements, Fassbender's very minimalist acting that is also very effective. I just really like this film. For me, I'm like, even watching, I was like, no, no, no. It's one of those films where when you watch, like, wait, this is a film that you can easily revisit. It just flows in a really good way, man. So again, I don't really give too much away. So pretty much, it's about this contract killer. So I don't even know what that one is because, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you know what? So it's pretty much it's pretty much a day in the life of this contract killer. Something happens on this particular day, and this contract killer has to deal with what happens on this particular day, or maybe day or like a few days. Like, I don't want to give away what happens because that is really much the catalyst that sets the tone for like the rest of the film. But I mean, look, again, for Fincher, you know how the guy rolls, man. Like, the guy, how he does lighting, how he does mood, how he can construct a scene. Basically, there's a scene in this that is freaking amazing. I don't want to give it away, but when that scene comes, you will know because that scene, I'm like, whoa, the heck? But you will know what to see because trust me, it's a scene that is going to be replayed many times, and many people will be referencing that scene. Like, it is a standout scene in the film. And when how Fincher just directs that scene, I was like, no, this guy's money. Fincher is money. So the direction, quality. The writing, again, it's Andrew Kevin Walker, man, because again, it's not this Nolan crap of like where it's like monologues and guys are giving massive, huge speeches. I mean, there is a moment in the film where there's like a voiceover and there's a lot said in the voiceover, but I think that just sets the tone. But once that opening voiceover is, which just sort of like sets the tone of the film, it moves. The thing just moves, and I think the writing is snappy, scene after scene after scene, and you are not for a second, not for a second on you, but there is not a single wasted frame. Not a single millisecond is wasted. At no point are you like, okay, this is a drag a bit, this is going on, because everything just flows, 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 flows. And just the way, because it's broken down into chapters. And just how concise and how well constructed each chapter is, like, oh no, 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 this is money. And Michael Fassbender, man. This is what's funny. Casting is very key. So the day before, I watched Killers of the Flower Moon, starring DiCaprio. DiCaprio's a good actor. He's a good actor. I just think that his face and aura doesn't really work for many films. Because I said to myself that if, let's say, you had DiCaprio in the same role, it wouldn't work. Because when I'm looking at DiCaprio, for a lot of his roles, I just don't buy him in many roles that he does. The only role I truly bought him in was Django Unchained, where he was perfectly cast and he was amazing. But when you just look at Michael Fassbender and you just look at him without him even saying anything, you're like, oh, I buy it. I buy it. Because for a lot of scenes, he hardly says anything. You just look at his eyes. And just through his eyes and his face, it just tells you so much about what he's thinking and what he wants to do and just how he's feeling. Because for me, the best acting is where less is more. Because that's what your boy Anthony Hopkins used to say: less is more, less is more, less is more. And for me, Fassbender, he was great in his man. He was so good. He was so good because when he needed to speak, spoke well. hit his mark beautifully well. When he didn't speak, he just had the right energy, the right movements. He could see through his eyes. So I really, because I mean, when I was watching, I was like, bro, man, like when it's ended, I was like, no, no, bro, I want another go ahead. I want another go ahead with this film, bro. Like I want them to revisit this world. I want them to revisit this world, and I want them to be like, you know what, make this a franchise. So I hope this film does well. Hope this film does well, and they can actually go on extend. But yeah, I highly, highly, highly recommend this film, and it's so funny though because I was even thinking about this now, and I said to myself that Fincher doesn't have an Oscar, and it just goes to show that what does an Oscar mean? If I told you, if I ask you guys, do you know who Tom Hooper is? Like, who the fuck is Tom Hooper? He's the guy who directed A King's Speech. The heck is A King's Speech? That was the film that won Best Film over David Fincher at the Oscars. And David Fincher, what film was nominated that year? Freaking Social Network. Arguably one of the best films of that decade. So it just shows that these awards mean nothing. All that, for me, I'd rather be a Fincher than a Tom Hooper. I don't want an Oscar. I'd rather be a guy who has made Fight Club, has made Seven, has made Social Network, has made Panic Room, and now has made Killer, and also introduced the world into and set the stage and the aesthetic of House of Cards. So, because my thing is that I want the man on the streets to be like, yo, that dude, because nobody has watched The King's Speech. No one has. No one has. Every single person on this planet has watched it. My mom has watched A Social Network. Everybody has watched A Social Network. Most people I know have either watched Seven. Everybody has watched Fight Club. Everybody's watched Fight Club. So, but yeah, for me, I really, really recommend this film. And I think the key thing, and this is what people should not do, because it's the same thing that give you Seven, don't expect Seven. Seven is a once in a lifetime, once in a generation film. That's just a unique, go-to, great 10 out of 10, iconic, perfect film. It's a perfect film, which is very hard to get. So like for me, if I was to give this out of 10, I'd give this an 8.5. I would give this an 8.5. Because I was going to say 8, but the 0.5 is, I just feel like the acting of Fassbender and just how concise and tight the film is. See, the reason why I can't go 9 is, again, I don't want to spoil things. There are a few things I feel they should have done. And there are a few places I feel the film could have gone to really be, it's really, so I just feel like if the film didn't really go to particular places to really move it into, okay, that's crazy. Now this is now 9.5 territory. So for me, like, it's not a film that I'll be like, it won't impact you the way that Seven and Fight Club has. But because those are iconic films. So it won't impact you that way. But you will leave this film being like, that was a good film. You leave this film saying that was a good film. Like, I fully enjoyed the film and I was really happy. And yeah, I would definitely 100% watch it again, man. Like the vid, subscribe, one love.